These VTubers might not be signed to work on with Glitch Stars yet, but thankfully their current contracts are pretty lenient when it comes to collaborations. So here's how the Live Twin engine works. The Live Twins are a VTubing duo made up of Live Twin Ki-Sikil and Live Twin Lil-La, who are successful online personalities in the S-Force world, alongside the likes of the M-Warriors, and their main rivals, Trouble Sunny. This isn't meant to be a video exposing them, but recently there have been rumors circulating that behind the screen, these content creators are, allegedly, the infamous phantom thieves known as the Evil Twins, cat burglars hired by international organizations to retrieve and steal certain valuable artifacts. But no matter what form they take, one thing's for sure: Ki-Sikil and Lil-La are a dynamic duo that rely on each other, which is actually important to know when you're playing the deck. Because when you summon out the original Ki-Sikil or Lil-La and you control no other monsters, you can use their effect to special summon out the other form from your hand or deck. Ki-Sikil can summon out Lil-La, and Lil-La can bring out Ki-Sikil. Although starting off with Lil-La is a little bit stronger, as you can use her effect to bring out Live Twin Ki-Sikil Frost, a seasonal variant of Ki-Sikil whose new model lets you get an extra draw with her graveyard effect. Either way, after you've gotten both Ki-Sikil and Lil-La monsters on the field, you can start planning out your heist by linking them off into your Evil Twin monsters. On your first turn, it's best to link summon out Evil Twin Ki-Sikil first and use her effect to bring out Live Twin Lil-La from your graveyard. And you can link them both off into Lil-La's Evil Twin form and use her effect to bring out Evil Twin Ki-Sikil from the grave. Then, because you control a Lil-La monster, you can use Ki-Sikil's effect to get a free draw before linking them both off into Evil Twin's Trouble Sunny, the deck's archetypal boss monster that can special summon out both Evil Twin Ki-Sikil and Lil-La from your graveyard at the same time at quick effect speed by tributing itself, which lets you get both Ki-Sikil's draw and Lil-La's pop on your opponent's turn when they're summoned. So with just a single Lil-La, you get to draw Ki-Sikil Frost whenever your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, a draw from Evil Twin Ki-Sikil during your turn when you summon her back with Evil Twin Lil-La, and a draw during your opponent's turn when you summon back the same Ki-Sikil with the effect of Trouble Sunny, resulting in a runic fountain worth of free card advantage. But that's not all, as after you use Trouble Sunny's effect to revive your Evil Twins, you'll also get a chance to use Lil-La's pop to disrupt your opponent by destroying one of their cards. And if that's still not enough to put a stop to their plays and they can set up a board, then by the time it gets back to your turn, you can use the graveyard effect of Trouble Sunny to start chewing through their interaction. But like any good streamer, no matter how fun the content we produce is, it's important to keep track of our analytics. So let's have a look at the Live Twins ratios people tend to like and subscribe to. Earlier, we joked about collabs, but one of the coolest things about Live Twins is that you can either play the deck as its own standalone strategy, or you can have some special guests like Sprite Blue, Hyujin, or even Yama to introduce your Live Twins to a whole new audience of support. And as a result, your ratios are often going to be different depending on how you play the deck. If you're playing it as pure as possible, then you always want to see your main play starters, which is why you'll be using 3 copies of each of your main twins. But when it comes to crossovers, Lil-La is the clear fan favorite, because in Sprite, Unchained, and Runic variants, you'll see Lil-La played at multiple copies with Ki-Sikil only at 1, because Lil-La is technically the better starter between the two. Although that's only because Ki-Sikil's Christmas variant is much better to have in the graveyard than Lil-La's Halloween costume. And as a result, decks that use Live Twins as more of an engine will play 1 copy of Ki-Sikil Frost to bring out with your Lil-La, and usually skip out on Lil-La Treat entirely. But if you're playing the deck as a standalone strategy, you should be playing at least 1 copy of each, since they're also just solid extenders. Especially since these models, as well as the original Live Twins, are all searchable by Live Twin Sunny Snitch, which you should be playing at 3 copies no matter which variant you're playing, since it can act as a way to either get your starter plays by searching out your original Live Twins, or help you push through hand traps by grabbing out Ki-Sikil Frost or Lil-La Treat to help you get through enough materials to get out your Evil Twin alter egos. And speaking of which, the Evil Twins in your extra deck are also going to be influenced by the type of deck you're playing them in. In Live Twin focused strategies, playing Lil-La and Ki-Sikil and Trouble Sunny at each at 3 copies is not only justifiable, it's almost necessary to give your deck a strong grind game. But in variant strategies, you'll often see ratios lowered to 2 copies of Ki-Sikil and Lil-La at most, and only a single copy of Trouble Sunny in order to make room for other options. Now, if you were hoping to play a non-pure version of Live Twin, these are the main cards that should definitely be included in your list. But there are also a number of other amazing options that can be a boon to pure strategy if you're willing to play them, and some are even worth considering in variants. Secret Password, for example, is a card that's worth maxing out on in pure Live Twin, because it's a way to get to any spell or trap card in the deck, making it really versatile. But you would only play it at 1 or 2 copies at most in a Sprite or Unchained Live Twin deck, solely to act as more copies of Sunny Snitch. But in regular Live Twin, you have a number of great targets for Password to grab, Like Live Twin Home, another extender for the strategy, that, due to its harsh lock, is usually skipped out in everything else. But even in pure, you only need to play Home at one copy as a search target for password to add when you need it. Because while this home page lets you get to any Live Twin you can need, both its lock and discard make it a rough way to start out a turn. Alternatively, or alongside Home, you could also run the Evil Twin trap cards. But even in pure versions of the deck, these trap cards are usually skipped out on other than Evil Twin Challenge, which can be played at one copy as a secret password search since it's a great way of beating certain hand traps and interactions. Although if you really wanted to, you could also run a copy of Present as yet another secret password search since it technically adds another layer of interaction to your board. It's just a bit awkward to use, so usually doesn't see play. The last spell or trap card that you can search with password is Live Twin's Channel. But even the most dedicated of Live Twin strategies, Channel usually isn't played just because its effects aren't useful for the strategy in its current state. And the last card on the archetype is Evil Twins Ki-Sikil and Lil-La, who, despite appearing like the deck's main boss monster, is usually considered optional. You can either play it at one copy to enable Trouble Sunny's graveyard removal effect, or you don't play it at all. Now that we've seen their full debut, let's tune into one of their regular streams to see if their content is worth a watch, or if it's just clickbait. The two monsters you'll see on your screen and in your hand most often are going to be Live Twin Ki-Sikil and Lil-La. Both of these VTubers are, fittingly, Cyberse monsters and can benefit from a whole range of Cyberse support options from consistency tools like Signet Mining to interaction like Linkaribo. Both of them also have a thematic bonus effect that forces your opponent to donate to your stream if you want to declare an attack, by either making them pay 500 life points if you control Lil-La, or so that you'll be given 500 life points if you control Ki-Sikil. Now, while I am definitely jealous of them getting 100% cut from Twitch, this effect isn't too relevant because it's very rare you'll be leaving your Live Twins on board, since more often than not, you'll be linking them away to bring out your Evil Twins. Especially because both Ki-Sikil and Lil-La's other effects make getting the materials for those link summons incredibly easy. Because these VTubers never stream alone, and when you summon one, you'll be able to summon the other counterpart from your deck or hand so long as you don't control any other monsters. If you summon Lil-La, you'll be able to summon out Ki-Sikil monsters from your deck, while if you summon Ki-Sikil, you'll get your chance to bring out a Lil-La. These effects are the bread and butter of your combos, and guarantee the right link materials and targets necessary for all of your Evil Twin link monsters to function. Although it's really important to note that you're not just limited to summoning out the original Live Twin monsters with their effects. You can summon out any monster from your deck so long as they have either Ki-Sikil or Lil-La in their name, allowing you to special summon out their holiday-themed models instead. Both Lil-La Treat and Ki-Sikil Frost are pretty important cards for the deck, at least when it comes to Live Twins as a standalone strategy, because they act as your main extenders. These versions of your Live Twins act almost like the opposite, but perfectly complement the originals, as instead of having an effect to summon out their counterpart, they have a way to summon themselves out from your hand if you control their partner in crime. Ki-Sikil can summon itself if you control Lil-La and vice versa, which allows you to play through hand traps and interactions if your opponent happens to interrupt your normal summon. However, summoning them off the original twins is an equally important factor to their utility, because both of these versions of the Live Twins have pretty great effects that you can use by banishing them from the graveyard. Lil-La's graveyard effect activates whenever either player takes damage from a battle involving an Evil Twin, and will allow you to reduce the attack of an opponent's monster equal to the damage that was taken, while Ki-Sikil's effect lets you draw a card whenever your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand. Between the two, Ki-Sikil is definitely the strongest, as it's essentially free card advantage since you can definitely rely on your opponent searching, drawing, or adding cards from their deck to their hand at some point during the course of the turn, which as a result makes the original Lil-La the better Live Twin to start your turns with, as you get the chance to summon Frost from your deck so you can get it into your graveyard. Comparatively, Lil-La's Treat effect is a little bit worse. Making your opponent's monsters easier to deal with by battle is an effect that definitely has its use cases, especially in a strategy with pretty low attack monsters. But because it doesn't help you gain any card advantage or put a stop to an opponent, Treat's effect is a lot more niche. And while it's a nice bonus, Frost's draw is much more appreciated. Frost even has the better typing of the two, as for a while, her Aqua typing even allowed for the strategy to bring Totally Awesome to back up their end boards. But no matter your preference, both Frost and Treat are amazing extenders, especially because they're really easy to find with Live Twins Sunny Snitch. You might think an expose video like this would mean the end of the Live Twins channel, but it actually only serves to increase their view count. Literally, because Sunny Snitch lets you add any Live Twin monster from your deck to your hand whenever you activate it. This is a really simple effect, but one that has dual purposes. If you don't have a Live Twin in hand to start your plays, then Sunny Snitch can act as a starter to get you to either the original Ki-Sikil or Lil-La. But because you can already search for both Ki-Sikil Frost and Lil-La Treat, you can use Snitch to grab them in case your plays are interrupted to give you a second name on field, which allows every version of Live Twin to cut down on their conditional extenders, as instead of just hoping you draw the corresponding name at any point when you're being interrupted, you can just use Sunny Snitch to add the right twin for every situation. Snitch also has a pretty great bonus effect too, because while you control an Evil Twin monster, you get to burn your opponent for 200 damage while you gain 200 life points each time they summon a monster. This sounds like a pretty unimpactful amount of life points at first. And you'd be right, because rarely is Snitch's damage ever going to disincentivize your opponent from comboing off. But eventually this burn is going to add up in one way or another over the course of a duel. It makes it much easier for your low attack Evil Twin monsters to find lethal. Now, sometimes videos like Sunny Snitch can end up being taken down or put to private. So to access them, you might need a secret password. And this particular password just straight up lets you add any Live Twin or Evil Twin spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. Or if you control both a Ki-Sikil and a Lil-La monster, you can add an Evil Twins Ki-Sikil and Lil-La from your deck to your hand instead. You'll usually see secret password just played at an extra copy or two of Sunny Snitch in order to ensure you always have access to your Live Twins. But there are actually a number of options for this effect depending on the password you write in. For example, if you're just a regular fan of their content and get the password wrong, you'll be redirected back to Live Twins homepage. Home can summon out any Ki-Sikil or Lil-La monster directly from your deck. However, it comes with a couple of downsides. In order to activate the card in the first place, you need to pay a cost. But instead of buying a tier 3 subscription, you need to discard a card. And for the rest of the turn after you activate it, you're locked into only being able to special summon out Evil Twin monsters from your extra deck. Now, being able to bring out any of your Live Twins from deck is undoubtedly a stellar effect, and gives Home the same dual utility as Sunny Snitch, where it's capable of acting as both a way to start your plays, or a way to beat hand traps in case your main play is interrupted. And if it wasn't for Home's drawbacks, it would honestly be one of the best cards in the deck. But both the discard and the log are actually a pretty big deal. The discard doesn't sound too terrible at first, since the deck is more than capable of regaining card advantage over the course of a couple of turns. But it's much riskier way to start your plays, because now you're investing 2 cards worth of resources to bring out your twins, rather than just the one you would invest with Sunny Snitch. Or a normal summon to Lil-La, opening up a prime choke point for your opponent to interact with you. And if you needed Home to start your plays in the first place, then it's likely the card you'll be discarding will be some kind of hand trap that you would have hoped to keep in your hand to stop your opponent's plays. As for the lock, even in pure Live Twins, it's really restrictive, as it severely limits your plays. And while the Evil Twins are definitely great cards that you'll always be going through in your first turn, one of the strengths of Live Twins is its ability to flex into a number of different extra deck tools to supplement its usual end boards, whether it's a simple IP Masquerena or Lingribo, or bringing out some of the game's most busted fiend monsters. And being forced to use Home early locks you out of those interesting choices. Still, Home isn't without utility, and is a solid target to grab with secret password. It's just better to get it when you know you need it, rather than forcing yourself into a suboptimal start to your turn. Alternatively, using password can give you a link that redirects you back to Live Twin's channel. However, most viewers never use the channel page to find their favorite content, as it's all usually just recommended to them or it'll show up in their subscription feed. And Live Twin channel is honestly just as redundant. It has 2 okay effects. Its first one is an archetypal negate attack that you can use to negate an attack by attributing one of your Ki-Sikil or Lil-La monsters. Meanwhile, its second effect is focus on recursion. It can be activated during the end phase to target a Ki-Sikil or Lil-La monster in your grave to either shuffle it into the deck or add it to your hand if you control no monsters. These 2 effects would be neat bonuses if they were part of a much stronger card. Being able to negate an attack can occasionally be useful to protect your field and life points, and even being able to shuffle back a spent Live Twin every turn, or get it to hand, can ensure you'll be capable of keeping up an impressive grind game. But they're pretty mediocre when they're the main selling point of the card. Live Twin already has more than an impressive grind game thanks to your Ki-Sikil draws, and the graveyard recursion of your Evil Twins. And the deck has other options available if you're really worried about the damage a battle phase could do, even within its own archetype. And that actually just about does it for the Live Twins cards that Secret Password can search. However, there's a series of interesting Evil Twin trap cards that could grab you instead. But to really grasp their potential utility, we need to understand how they might interact with our Evil Twin boss monsters. Evil Twin Ki-Sikil and Lil-La are the deck's 2 most important pieces, and are pretty easy to go into since they can both be link summoned with any 2 monsters, as long as at least one of them is one of the monsters that it shares its name with. So in order to go into Lil-La, you need a Lil-La monster, and Ki-Sikil needs a Ki-Sikil. So normal summoning either the original Live Twins will get you the right names to summon either. And just like their Live Twin counterparts, each of the Evil Twins has an effect to bring each other out. But instead of bringing out a monster from deck on summon, the Evil Twins can instead bring out their opposite counterpart from the graveyard during the main phase at quick effect speed, so long as you don't control a monster with their partner's name in it already. To put it simply, Evil Twin Ki-Sikil can bring out a Lil-La monster, and Lil-La can bring out a Ki-Sikil monster. Now, these effects don't come for free. After using them, you'll be locked into only being able to bring out fiend monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the turn. But that's honestly more than worth it. Not just for the free link materials that you get, but also because these effects are a great way of triggering the unique on-summon effects of your Evil Twins, which can only be used when they're special summoned and you control their other half. When Ki-Sikil is summoned while you control a Lil-La, you get to draw a card for free. And when Lil-La is summoned while you control a Ki-Sikil monster, you get to target a card on field and destroy it. These effects are the main payoff for the Live Twin engine, and ones that you'll want to cycle through every single turn in order to outpace your opponent in card advantage. Ki-Sikil allows you to gradually recur your resources with a free draw every single turn. This might sound pretty unimpactful at first, but these draws definitely begin to add up every turn by turn 2. Because so long as you keep Ki-Sikil's effect active, you've basically just activated Pot of Greed, getting to draw once on your turn and once during your opponent's turn. This, combined with Ki-Sikil's Frost draw, is why Live Twin as a strategy generally plays a ton of hand traps, which supplements their main engine well, as these free draws are much more than likely to convert into strong pieces of interaction, no matter if you draw into them during your turn or your opponent's. This takes a lot of pressure away from your Evil Twin's engine interactions to stop an opponent, since you'll always be able to back them up with a ton of in-hand interaction. And speaking of interaction, while Ki-Sikil's effect is all about gaining advantage, Evil Twin Lil-La's pop is all about taking away advantage from your opponent. Like with Ki-Sikil's effect, just a single pop sounds relatively low impact, but the ability to use it every single turn means that you can keep chewing through your opponent's resources until they have nothing left, and hitting a well-timed pop can be term-ending, even against an all-in combo deck. But generally, it's when you use Ki-Sikil and Lil-La in harmony and in rhythm that you really see the strength behind these cards. And due to the quick effectiveness of these links being able to special summon each other out, you can easily set up your preferred option with just a single Live Twin ready to draw or pop during your opponent's turn. But if you wanted to use both effects, you could link off your link to Evil Twins into the link for Trouble Sunny, the deck's main boss monster and rival streamers to the Live Twins. And it seems like this rivalry really fires up both Ki-Sikil and Lil-La, as the presence of Trouble Sunny can bring them out to the field. With Sunny's effect, you contribute it to special summon out both Ki-Sikil and Lil-La monsters from your graveyard at quick effect speed. Like the other Evil Twins, you can use this effect to bring out any Ki-Sikil or Lil-La of your choice, but it's best to summon out both Evil Twin Ki-Sikil and Lil-La because you'll be able to trigger both of their on-summon effects. And the way Trouble Sunny's effect works in comparison to the other twins gives this strategy a lot more breathing room. Prior to Sunny, using both effects of your twins during your opponent's turn was a bit more difficult since you could only use the revive of your Evil Twins if you didn't control one of their partners. It was definitely possible with the use of an IP Mask Arena or Evil Twin Challenge, but having Sunny give you access to both at once just makes things a lot easier. Especially because, unlike the Link 2 twins, Trouble Sunny isn't limited to just being able to be used in the main phase. You can activate it whenever you want during either player's turn, which is, surprisingly, a pretty big deal since you now have a greater array of freedom to use your Evil Twin effects, and rather than forcing you to play into a triple tactics talent, Sunny enables you to use your twins to waste your opponent's battle phase, or to just sweep up any back row that they have left behind in the end phase while granting you a free Ki-Sikil draw ready for your next turn. And all of this is without even mentioning Trouble Sunny's graveyard effect, which allows you to banish it and send an Evil Twin monster from your hand deck or field to the graveyard to send a card of your choice from the field to the grave. Now, in Evil Twin, you're usually going to have access to this effect no matter what because each of your boss monsters have Evil Twin in their names, and having another way to keep beating away at your opponent's resources is amazing, especially if you're trying to deal with problematic floodgates or boss monsters that Lil-La's pop alone would struggle to beat. In fact, this removal was so great that for a while, it actually enabled Trouble Sunny to see generic play in a ton of different strategies, as it's currently one of the best Link monster targets for Ultimate Slayer, a really strong board breaking tool capable of spitting any extra deck monster back to the deck, but only as long as you send a monster from your own extra deck of the same card type for cost. So to deal with a fusion, you send a fusion. To balance a synchro, you send a synchro monster, and so on and so on. And the reason why Sunny was so great when paired with Slayer was because, after dealing with your opponent's Appaloosa by sending it for cost, you could then remove a second card from the field with Sunny's effect, effectively dealing with two of your opponent's interactions with just a single card. But in order to use this effect in the first place, you do need to have an Evil Twin to send, and unless you were playing Live Twins, the only choice that you really have available is Evil Twins Ki-Sikil and Lil-La. Currently, Evil Twins Ki-Sikil and Lil-La is the only main deck Evil Twin monster, and funnily enough, is the only monster in the deck that you can search out with secret password, but only if you control a Ki-Sikil and Lil-La. It requires a decent chunk of investment to actually bring out, as it can only be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by tributing 2 link monsters, with the implication being that you're supposed to tribute Evil Twin Ki-Sikil and Evil Twin Lil-La. But if you do manage to bring it out to the field, its on-summon effect is an archetypal evenly match that forces your opponent to send cards they control to the graveyard so they only control 2. And while you have a Ki-Sikil and Lil-La monster in your graveyard, these Evil Twins gain 2200 attack and defense, essentially making it a 4400 attack bomb of a boss monster. The uses for Evil Twins Ki-Sikil and Lil-La are pretty clear-cut. Its on-summon effect is a fine way to swing a game that might not have been going your way back in your favor by depleting most of your opponent's onboard resources, literally stealing games right from underneath them. Meanwhile, its impressive stat line makes it a genuine threat to both your opponent's boss monsters and their life points. And due to being one of the prime targets to send with Trouble Sunny's graveyard effect, as well as secret password being able to search it, there are a ton of ways to find Evil Twins Ki-Sikil and Lil-La, meaning you'll always have access to it in one way or another. But the card definitely has its downsides. It's never going to be useful on your first turn, or when drawn from one of your Ki-Sikil effects. And in decks so reliant on having live draws to prevent your opponent from playing, a brick like this can sometimes make hands that should have been stronger a little bit worse. And when going second, it's not really an effective board breaker, because in order to summon it out, you already need to have a way to play anyways, to link summon monsters that you need to tribute away. And if you're able to get them, then you're already in a pretty good spot. While if you can't, then the card Evil Twins Ki-Sikil and Lil-La are just going to be sitting in your hand or your graveyard doing nothing. But even if everything goes right for the card, if you manage to commit to all of this setup you need for it and somehow resolve its on-field effect without your opponent stopping it, its field wipe isn't that amazing, because in every situation your opponent is always going to keep their 2 strongest options, potentially putting a stop to your plays even after you break most of their board. Even if you really want to play Evil Twins Ki-Sikil and Lil-La, then nothing is stopping you, because the card does have some utility that you might value. But because of how awkward it is to use, most competitive live twin decks usually skip out on it. But now that we've gotten a little glimpse at what these content creators are behind the scenes, we can take a look at how the Evil Twin trap cards can aid in our game plan, with the best of the bunch, Evil Twin Challenge. Challenge's effect is pretty simple. It has virtually the same revival effects as Evil Twin Ki-Sikil and Evil Twin Lil-La to revive one of your names. But unlike them, it can be activated at any point during your turn. And it even comes with a bonus effect as well, which allows you to perform a link summon of an Evil Twin monster immediately after its effect resolves. Now, at first glance, this effect initially appears pretty redundant, but Challenge has a lot going for it that gives it a lot of inherent value, because it's such a strong, searchable way to play through certain interactions and board breakers, with Nibiru being a prime example. While variant versions of Live Twin don't really have an issue against the rock, pure variants are pretty vulnerable to having your VTuber turned into a non-fungible token. But by playing Challenge, if you're hit with Nib after you brought out your Evil Twins, you can just let it resolve, and then add Challenge with secret passwords so that during your opponent's turn, you can flip it up to revive one of your twins, and then use their other effect to revive so that you can get access to the other's on-summon effect. And it's not just Nibiru that it helps you play around. Having your board negated by Dark Ruler, or having your twins removed from the field by something like a Lightning Storm, would be dual ending. But with Challenge set, you suddenly have a lot more insurance that you're going to be able to resolve both of your twins' effects that turn. As a whole, Challenge has a lot of intricacies behind it that are pretty hard to see at first glance, but it's a card that's more than worth it to play in a live twin focused deck. The same can't be said for the other Evil Twin traps though, because both Present and GG Easy don't share the same versatility as a card like Challenge. In the case of Evil Twin Present, its effect sounds pretty solid at first, as it can either shuffle back an opponent's set back row, or can be used to creature swap one of your Ki-Sikil or Lil-La monsters away to take control of one of your opponent's monsters. Both of these effects admittedly have their fair share of utility. We've talked a lot about how strong mind control cards are plenty of times on the channel before, because you're taking away an opponent's resources while gaining one that you can use to your advantage, and having an alternative option to deal with back row can definitely be appreciated in more trap heavy matchups. However, these effects have their issues. The first is its activation condition, as in order to use either effects in the first place, you need to control both a Ki-Sikil and a Lil-La. Now, while you're always going to end with both on your board at some point, your first turn end board doesn't actually feature the twins on it. It'll either just have one of them ready to bring out the other, or Trouble Sunny ready to tag out. This makes present a little bit awkward as it's entirely reliant on your Trouble Sunny working, which given the strength of certain breakers and removal tools won't always be the case, leaving present as a pretty dead piece of interaction. And even if you do use present, its effects are somewhat limited. Only being able to target a single set back row essentially makes the card a worse version of MST. And while a well-timed snatch steal or crackdown can be game-winning, the resources you give your opponent might end up helping them a lot. You see, like we talked about earlier, your end board usually doesn't feature a Ki-Sikil or Lil-La monster until Trouble Sunny tags out, and the ones you summon are usually going to be your Evil Twin links, so that you can use their effects. So when you use present as an interruption, you're giving your opponent one of your link monsters, which might be fine in certain matchups, but given the prevalence of SP Little Knight as well as the recent dominance of fiend-focused strategies, you don't want to be caught out by giving your opponent a Ki-Sikil only for them to link it away into a Fiendsmith Requiem. If you really want to give your Evil Twins a present, you're better off just gifting 5 subs instead. Meanwhile, GG Easy is the worst spot of the 3, which is really unfortunate since it has the best name in the archetype. In order to activate it, you need to tribute a Ki-Sikil or Lil-La monster, and then choose between one of the 2 effects. You can either make a Ki-Sikil or Lil-La monster you control gain attack equal to the original attack of the monster you tributed until the end of the turn, or you can instead use the card as a pseudo My Body as a Shield, as when a card or effect is activated which would destroy a card, you can use GG Easy to negate it. Both of these effects are pretty mediocre at best. The deck already has pretty reliable lethal lines thanks to more generic options. You don't have to worry about your twins being beaten over before you can use their effects thanks to the 3300 attack Trouble Sunny. And if you're really worried about removal on your twins, you can just back them up with a challenge instead, which will work in beating that removal even when you don't have Ki-Sikil or Lil-La to tribute. The one interesting feature of GG Easy is actually its cost. Having the ability to put a twin into the grave so you can immediately revive it can sometimes be a clever way of ensuring that you can cycle through your twins every single turn while gaining a slightly positive effect. But there's an even easier way of doing this, as you can just link off both of your evil twins into a second copy of one of them, and then their effect to revive the other from the grave, or just link back into a Trouble Sunny and use its effect if you really need to use both, effectively making the card one of the most redundant options in the deck next to Live Twin Channel. The only case in which GG Easy is an optimal choice is if you run Crossout Designator, as then, when you're about to win the duel, you have an amazing card to declare just to BM your opponent. However, despite some of the cards in the deck definitely being better than others, Live Twin as a whole is a genuinely competent strategy that, while relatively low powered compared to other decks, has an effective, simple, and fun game plan when played pure that can be made even better when played alongside other decks. And the theming of the deck as a whole is amazing, literally stealing games with Evil Twins and always seeing your favorite content creators in hand. Personally, my favorite VTuber is the one with pink hair.